What's up, guys? We're live right now. So, the camera that was recording this, the sound was kind of buggered up on, so I kind of pre-recorded this, and we're playing the memory card back now. I've actually fixed the camera. There'll be a video on that probably tomorrow. The microphone internally came disconnected. How that happens, God only knows. But anyway, the camera that the live stream was recorded on is going to be repaired tomorrow because I've already fixed it. I've already filmed it. I haven't. I'm just going to edit it and put it up. Anyway, this was the second one from the same customer. And we're going to run this in real time. This is quite the procedure. There will be a much higher quality video coming out of the actual procedure when I get down to editing it. It won't be tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'll put it out earlier in the day. But this is the raw footage basically of the actual repair, which took me quite a while. We're going to be here for about an hour while I did this, and but what you'll see this camera. Well, you've already seen it. This is nothing. Wait till I get into this thing. This camera that we're looking at right here, this one is shot. Like, this is beyond repair, as you're going to see momentarily here. Old radios, I see you there. Yep, I'm back. Savage Gamer, hello. Already fixed. You haven't got a clue. Wait till you see the inside of this camera, though. I mean, this is. It's in pretty sad shape. The owner of this one tried to fix it himself, and well, we'll see in a minute once I get the thing apart. It's pretty much beyond repair. What I should do is I should get some background music going here for when I'm not talking. about that. I had to take care of some business. That's what happens when you're live. Is that sometimes things come up. Oh, hello, Australia. Sometimes I get ads in Korean. Okay, yeah, I guess they stream ads in different languages for different countries. That is a camera, yes, that I'm working on. I just sold my other DVD camera, the standard definition one that I bought a few months back. So since I got the high definition DVD camcorder that does the ABC HC discs, I didn't need the other one, so I put it up and sold it, and someone just came over to pick it up for me. I'm not annoying you guys. I'm just trying to take this ad down off Facebook for this camera because I get people contacting me all the time wanting to buy it, and it's now gone. You know, it sat there online for a week or so with no interest, and all of a sudden I get like 20 people all at the same time wanting to buy it off me. I guess it was too cheap. There, took care of that business. So in case you guys haven't figured out what I'm going to attempt to do here, you probably already figured it out. I'm going to swap chassis for the two cameras because they both are similar. Not quite the same, but close enough that the actual tape loading mechanism is compatible. At least it should be. At some point in here, I'm going to screw up, but I'm not going to tell you where it is. And yes, I did see it and make the correction before putting it together, but there will be a point in here where there was an error made because I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, there was a lot of parts to take apart. And one of those Jesus clips, a cut washer, when I picked it off, I was talking at the time on the video that will be coming up at a later date of this procedure, the edited version, and I was talking at the time when the clip ended up in my mouth. So I'm going to just use my power supply to open up the mechanism. As you have to do this procedure, you have to have the mechanisms in the fully unloaded position in order to do this. It's not hard to do. It's just it's kind of tedious. There's a lot of screws and clips and stuff to take out, but it's not that difficult to do. And I've done this procedure many, many times. About 3 volts is what I use for the mechanism. I think it was like 3.1, 3.2 volts. Had the current limited down at like half an amp. It doesn't take much. You can do it with a couple batteries. What we used to do at the shop is I had a AA battery holder with 3 1.5 volt AA batteries, and that's what we used to use to open them up all the time, like for taking tapes out of cameras when they were jammed up. So one of these 2 cameras is a regular 8mm. That's the one that the guy ripped the ribbon cable when he was trying to take it apart himself. He tore the ribbon cable that connected to the nose cone, which has the power switch and everything, right? So that's why it wouldn't turn on. That's a regular 8. The one that I'm going to put the mechanism into, that was the prior one that we looked at earlier today. Same guy owns both of them. This is the one that had water damage, and the ribbon cable was corroded that went to the mechanism. That's why I want to change the mechanism, because I think if I change the mechanism, I'll solve the problem and hopefully get this high 8 camera working. That's the idea, because he has 2 broken cameras now. If we can make one good camera, especially being a high 8, because that's better than having a regular 8mm. We can get one working out of 2 garbage cameras, then everybody's happy. I'm happy. The guy that owns it's happy. So that's the ultimate goal. At this stage of the game, I don't know whether it's going to work. Well, I know because I've already done it, right? But I'm not telling you guys. But and I may not even reveal that at the end of the live stream, because I want you to come back and watch the close-up intricate work when I get around to editing it, which it'll be probably put up sometime tomorrow. these live streams that are just kind of a fun thing to put up, and I'm not going to do a bunch of them. I might do the odd one once in a while, but now that I've got the camera that I'm shooting this video with, now that I've got it functional again and the sound is working, I'll be able to actually do this live while while I'm doing the repair. Be able to put it up live and just leave it go. Of course, I'll be doing the narration that I do for the final video while I'm doing it, but I'll leave the camera run while I'm working. I'll leave the live stream up. I have done this before, by the way. I did this exact same work on my own DCR TRV 110. My next door neighbor gave me an old handycam, like just a regular. It's the same mechanism. It's a B mechanism. But my next door neighbor gave me his old handycam, flip out screen, handycam vision, I guess, just regular 8mm, and I gutted it for the transport for my digital 8, because mine, the ribbon cable was severed by the burr on the tape door locking mechanism that holds the mechanism closed. They had not, when they cut it at the factory, when they stamped out the piece for the latch, there was a little bit of a metallic burr that would rub up against the flexible PC and sever one of the traces for the take-up rotation sensor. So the camera would run for 5 seconds and then come up with an error and shut down. And there you go, mechanism is removed. Well, not quite. I have to get the button. I have to take the control function block off of this one because it's a little bit different. This one had the function block right on top. So there you go. Now it's removed. So that's the piece there I'm holding in my hand. That's the piece that has to be changed. New camera angle? No, this is sitting on top of my amplifier looking down towards me. So this is an angle I will use pretty much exclusively if I'm going to do a live stream. The other camera is dead overhead, and that's the main camera. These ones are recorded at 1080i. So when YouTube gets finished with them, it's probably 720 by the time they encode it. That's why it looks like you see the interlacing errors here, because they're not deinterlacing it, and the live stream looks kind of funny. If you watch it on playback after, it won't have the same artifacts because they'll process it, but during the live stream it doesn't look as good. But I'm trying to save bandwidth on this, so I'm not encoding at a super high bandwidth. Patience, yeah. You have no idea. This is the only thing I've accomplished today is these two cameras. Well, actually, I did a third one, but that's about all I've accomplished today. I got a bunch more stuff to work on tomorrow, and then it's back to work at my day job. They did start inspecting the punched out mechanism for burrs after the problem was discovered. Like, this camera doesn't have that issue, right? But the DCR TRV 110 did, and everything prior to that. They figured it out, fixed the problem, but there was a cajillion cameras out there that had the issue. I mean, I probably changed 40 or 50 of these chassis at like $250 a pop to fix them. But you got to remember, back then camcorders were running $1,000 or more, so $250 to fix it. People were not happy, but they just kind of growled and grunted and coughed up the bucks to fix it. No, I didn't make a new ribbon cable. I didn't fix the severed one either. I swapped the chassis. Yeah, it's intimidating, all right. These mechanisms aren't too hard to work on. There's a lot of cameras that I would just wash my hands of. Like, it's some of the mini DV cameras. Forget it. I've done a few, and I'm not really interested in doing them. Same with the DAT Walkmans. Forget it. They're a nightmare to work on. At least this mechanism was relatively well laid out and easy to disassemble and reassemble it. The A mechanism was also very good. The A mechanism, the B mechanism, and the one that replaced this one that the tape goes in from the bottom, they're all basically very, very similar, and they're quite easy to work on. The old Traveler, the TR series with the smaller drums, were a little bit more intricate, had more plastic parts that would break, and then the mechanisms prior to that were a joke. I did get into my DVD camcorder tonight to fix the microphone, the one that this video was shot with, that we're watching now. That's why there's no background sound, because the microphone wasn't working, and it basically, a ribbon cable had just come loose. I just opened it up and pushed it back in, and the sound came on. So think maybe the power got lost to the microphone. It's a ribbon cable that was held in place with tape too. It still managed to work its way loose, but I tell you that little DVD camcorder was pretty hard to work on. The ribbon cables are so short. Just to try to plug them back in, it's you can barely get your fingers in there. Never mind fit the connector into, or fit the end of the edge of the connector into the socket. It's pretty tight. Oh, after I left Sony, for sure. When I was at Sony, I didn't do anything but Betamax. That was my job. My job description was Betamax, and that's all I worked on. I didn't have to work on Walkman, stereos, anything. It was just SL8600, SL5400, SL5800, SL5600, SL5000, SL5020, SL5200. Those ones, the 711, or sorry, the 710 chassis. Those were what was out when I worked for Sony. I think the 2500 and 2000 had just launched, but I was only with Sony for a year, and that's all I got to work on was there, and it was all warranty work. Right, every single one was warranty that I was working on, because I was working at a factory service center. But Sony gave me an option. They said I could continue to work with them, but I had to relocate to Winnipeg. And I laughed and I said, yeah, right. Not going to Winnipeg. I think this is probably one of the easier ones to work on, this camera, because there's not a lot of electrolytic caps in them. There's only a handful. They're all on one side of the board. The earlier ones were just horrible. The F series, the F40, the F30, the V series. They were the V5000. That was a nightmare, that one. I did one once because I had one. I had a V5000 and all the caps went bad on mine. So before I could sell it, I had to fix it, and I changed, I think there was about 80 caps that I had to change. I put in the original surface mounted ones that were like what came out of it. And then I dumped it as quickly as I possibly could. Same with my EVW 300. I had the EVW 300 for a number of years, and I started getting the dreaded caps and servo error. It would come up on the viewfinder. C servo. That was an indication that the caps, and of course once it was turned on, if you let it sit for a few minutes before using it, it was fine. But when you fired it up cold, you'd get the caps and servo error. So I made the point of selling that as quickly as I could to let it become somebody else's problem. I think the newer ones are probably a little more difficult to service just because they're smaller. They're not mechanical now. They're all digital, right? But there's really nothing to service on them. You know, maybe you fix a broken HDMI connector or something, right? But there's really nothing to work on the newer ones. Everything's all on one or two boards with a bunch of chips on it. So there's not really much you can do. The heyday of Sony's camcorders are like the one that I'm working on now. They were really quite serviceable compared to what followed, which became much smaller, much more compact. And then, of course, once tape was gone, the reliability went way up. But if they do break, then you basically throw them out and buy a new one. Well, I was just given a high 8 TRV 108 for free that I'm going to turn around and sell. And I got given a PAL, a high 8 PAL camera as well. I had to fix that one, but I mean, people give them away here. You know, when I see ridiculous prices listed on eBay, I just don't understand who would pay that kind of money for an old camera. I think probably the 8mm and the high 8 have a little bit more value than, say, a VHS-C camera, just because people have tapes that they want to try to recover. But still, they're not worth that much money, because in my neck of the woods here, people, they sell them for, you know, 40, 50 bucks, or give them away. There's lots of them that are, you know, under $100 for an 8mm camera. In working condition, I might add. Yet I look on eBay and I see, you know, high 8 camera for parts, $300 plus shipping. What's frustrating? This was frustrating. Everything's frustrating sometimes. I have a Gravel Smart oven tomorrow to work on. I had it a few months back, and the lower element wasn't working, and that was fixed. And apparently it's now gone dead. So I don't know if a thermal fuse has failed or something, but I'll have that one to work on tomorrow. That's a frustrating piece. If you guys saw the last, I've got one myself, the same oven, and they are a real fun unit to get into, the way that they put the screws in. Definitely something that's not designed to be removed, but then these sell for, you know, 500 bucks for a new one. So small appliance people want to fix it. They love these ovens. They're great, and people that have them, they want to fix them. So word got out that I know how to fix them. So every time one breaks down, I get a call and have to fix it. Had to get a smaller screwdriver to get that screw in because it's at an odd angle. trying to get the mechanism to go down, and it's sticking. So I'm trying to figure out why it's sticking. Yeah, thanks. Well, I'd say I did this long enough, right? Did this for a living for 20 years. It's now more of just a hobby, right, for me. I work for the phone company now. I've been with them for 18 years. Mostly doing fiber optic now, but I do the electronics just to, just as more of as a hobby. But I get so much stuff that comes in that people want fixed. I would imagine if someone were to set up shop, they probably could make some money doing it, because there's enough people that want to fix their old products. But the problem is getting parts. That's the tough part. Like, I have no access to parts. The only way I can fix a lot of this stuff is recycling parts. And in the case of this camera, it's pulling a part out of another camera that's in worse shape. I'm still fiddling around with this mechanism, scratching my head trying to figure out why it's not working. I'm going to pull the base plate off again and take a look under it to see what is going on. Now, when I'm using that power supply, I've got the current limited, so there's not enough torque to do any damage if something jams. That's important. That's why you use a limited supply, because if you've got too much power on there, you'll just start stripping plastic gears, so you don't want to damage anything. So I got the power supply limited to about 100 milliamps. So it's enough to operate the mechanism, but not so much that it's going to cause any damage. If something's sticking, it's not going to bend anything, it's not going to break anything. I have a cassette deck. I haven't got to it yet, but I do have a Sony cassette deck I got to deal with at some point, and I have a 8mm VCR that's sitting at the post office. I have to pick up tomorrow. The fellow that sent it put a declared value of $300 on it and created himself about a $70 tax bill, which he paid. So now I got to go and pay the post office to pay the taxes so the government can collect tax on something that's not even staying in the country because it was declared incorrectly. So that'll be coming in tomorrow. Whether I get to it tomorrow or not, that's to be seen, because I have 3 other things at least ahead of it. Plus 2 videos in the can that I have to edit. One of them being this one. There we go. Now it's working. I'm not going to tell you what I did. It was kind of a screw up. And you won't see it in the edited version, by the way. So I got a call today on my cell phone, and the guy asked for me by name, and I said, "Who's looking for him?" He says, "This is Canada Post Corporation." Oh, okay. What do you want? He says, "Is this Dave?" I said, "Well, who's looking for him?" And then I get a click. And it was someone with a very thick accent. Scammer calling from Pakistan, I guess. Ah, the fun of putting this one back together. I don't even know if it's going to work yet, but I'm putting it back together. No, someone didn't say they were from Pakistan. I think someone called me from Pakistan, trying to scam me, pretending to be Canada Post Corporation. The funny thing is they called my cell number and nobody knows my cell number. Like I don't tell anybody my cell number. I have burner number that I give out to people, right? But I don't give anybody my cell number. So nobody calls my cell except for family. Because nobody knows the number except for family. And yet I get this call on my cell from someone claiming to be from the post office asking for me. So when I asked them who they were, they hung up. So I'm going to plug this thing now and see if I get the thumbs up. I have an alignment issue. The tracking is off by 10 miles. I got lines throughout the picture like you wouldn't believe. But the reason I have lines throughout the picture is because I pulled the chassis from the other one and the guides were way out of whack on the other one. Time to get the right tool for this. I have a forked screwdriver. It fits over the guideposts perfectly so that I can tweak them in, and I'm just looking on the monitor to bring this into alignment. These ones are pretty easy to do. You can tell if it's good or bad. I mean, yeah, I can put it on scope, but usually it's not required. You can get it pretty darn close without the scope. Nope, wasn't a ribbon cable. It was mechanical. Had to do with the position of the pendulum gear that flips back and forth to drive the take up and supply spools. When I was showing that off, I was talking to the other camera, obviously, showing off the chassis. But at this point, it's working. I'm just talking to the other camera about at one time we could get that ribbon, the end section of it, you could unsolder it. It's actually two pieces of ribbon cable that are soldered together. And at one point you could get that tail if it got cut or damaged, but not no more. You couldn't get the other piece that went on with the rotation sensors, the part that stuck down with the rotation sensors. If that was damaged, you had to replace the entire chassis. But if the other piece that was damaged, that's damaged on this one that I'm holding, the tail section of it there, you could get that at one point, but that was, back in the 90s. You're not going to get one today. It just doesn't exist anymore. I think it's probably time that I can probably end the live stream here because um, all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to put the camera back together. It's functional. I haven't tested it for record yet, but it's going to work. So I think we can probably shut down the live stream now. I know there's 23 people are watching right now. But there's really not much left to see. I mean, it continues on for a while. I put the camera back together, but there's not much else to really go through. There's nothing really more technical that I have to do other than put it together. Oh, I gotta change the top. I think I already did change the top on it, the top piece. Yeah, it was a satisfying fix. I'm pretty happy with the results I got out of this one. It's always nice to save a high 8 deck that's in tough shape. I'm just leaving it run for a couple more minutes here because just to show how quick these Sony 8mm cameras go together. They really were a engineering marvel. And they were so far ahead of all the competition. Panasonic, JVC, Sanyo, Hitachi, Sharp, they were all crap compared to Sony as far as how fast you could tear one of these apart, get into it, fix it, and put it back together. They were just beautiful. Just the way that they were laid out, you could put these things together. I could put these together in my sleep. Someone's playing with the audio mixer. I got lots of Sony cameras. I got all the formats. Well, no, not quite. I don't have micro MV, and I don't envy to get one. I have a beta movie. I have an SL2000 beta pack. I have an SLO340 beta 1 portable. I have a beta cam broadcast. I have a little high 8 TR series, TR81. I have a regular 8 TRV, a regular 8, which I'm going to sell. I have a high 8 handycam. I have a V110 that was given to me. I have 5 digital 8 that I use for archiving. 2 mini DV HDV cameras. A DVD HD camera, which is what you're watching right here. And 3 4K cameras one that I shoot I shoot most all the videos with them, even though I'm running them in 1080 mode, just because I don't see any point. I guess I could shoot in 4K, but I just don't see any point in all the bandwidth required. The size of the files are huge. It takes forever to render out. So for this type of work, I just do them in 1080p, 60 frames at 28 megabits bandwidth, which is the highest quality. One of the highest quality. I can go to 50 megabits. AVC-S, I can go, which is 50 megabits, which is a little bit better than 28, but 28 megabits I think looks more than adequate for YouTube, because they're just going to compress it anyway, right? Yes, I have a Sony Laserdisc. I have a couple Sony Laserdiscs. I have an auto reverse Sony Laserdisc and a non-auto reverse with a time-based corrector. Panasonic Laserdisc. I think two or three Pioneers, a Yamaha. Sony DVD recorder. Oh yes, I have too much stuff. That's what happens when you're in the business, though, right? If people want to get rid of stuff, they just give it to me. I didn't buy any of the stuff, right? I get it all given to me. Some of it works, a lot of it needs service, but I mean, I never buy anything. It's stuff that people are just getting rid of stuff. They're throwing it out. And they hand it off to me and say, "Here, you can have it." And most of the stuff doesn't require a lot of work to get it going. Like the camera that's shooting this video that we're watching right now, I paid $40 for it. That's probably the most expensive camera I've bought, other than the one that my production cameras, which I bought them brand new. My Betacam, I think I picked that up for $100. Idiot. I maximized the window on my screen and I've got it displaying on my plasma, which is overscanned. So now I can't see the buttons on the corner of the screen to bring it back to normal size. I have to kind of guess with the mouse pointer where it is when I need to relocate this window to close down this broadcast. I don't know, will escape work on this one? I don't think so, because it's on my secondary monitor. No, it won't work. If it was on my main monitor, it would, but on the secondary monitor, it won't. I've got my secondary monitor is a plasma that I use for editing. I use it as my full screen monitor as my edit window. There we go. I'm giving you guys a thumbs up. This is all done. So the broadcast is pretty much over. So I guess that's going to be it. I'm going to eject the tape, and then it's going to end. Oh, I'm going to do a recording now, but everything works now. Actually, I just did a recording. I'm going back to the other tape to do another playback test. Yeah, I can't play Richard Elliott. That is Music Bakery. It's Jack Waldenmayer. They do monitor this even live stream, so if I played copyright music, I'd get taken down. Anyway, that's it. We're done here. We'll catch you guys in the next one.